Psalm 51 is one of the most poignant and powerful psalms in the Bible. Known as a penitential psalm, it records King David's prayer of confession after being confronted by the prophet Nathan about his sin with Bathsheba. This psalm is often looked at as a model for genuine repentance, showing how we should approach God when we have sinned. Let's explore a few key themes from Psalm 51, each of which can speak powerfully to us today. 1. The weight of sin and personal responsibility, verses 1 to 6. David begins the psalm with a cry for mercy, recognizing that he has sinned against God. He says, "Against you, you only have I sinned," verse 4. Though his actions harmed others, Bathsheba, her husband Uriah, and even the nation he ruled, David acknowledges that all sin is ultimately a rebellion against God. This teaches us to take personal responsibility for our actions and recognize that sin is not just about breaking rules, but breaking a relationship with God. Sermon point. Sin distances us from God and disrupts our connection with Him. Just as David recognized his sin, we too need to recognize and admit our own failures before God, understanding that we are responsible for our choices. 2. The cry for cleansing and restoration. Verses 7 to 12. David doesn't just ask for forgiveness, he asks for cleansing. He uses language like wash me, cleanse me, and create in me a pure heart. This reflects the depth of David's desire to be spiritually purified, not merely absolved from the consequences of his actions. He wants to be right with God and to have his heart transformed. Sermon point. When we come to God, it's not just about avoiding punishment. It's about allowing Him to purify and restore us from the inside out. David's prayer for a steadfast spirit and a willing spirit, verse 12, reminds us that genuine repentance brings a desire for lasting change. 3. The importance of a broken and contrite heart, verses 16 to 17. David says, "You do not delight in sacrifice, or I would bring it. You do not take pleasure in burnt offerings," verse 16. Instead, God desires a broken and contrite heart, verse 17. This shows that true repentance is not about outward displays or rituals, but about a heart that is genuinely grieved by sin and sincerely seeking God. Sermon point. God values the condition of our heart over religious rituals. He wants us to come to Him with sincerity and humility, trusting that He is more than willing to forgive us. This humble posture opens the door to true restoration with God. 4. The hope of renewal and witnessing to others. Verses 13 to 15. After asking for forgiveness and restoration, David expresses a desire to teach others the ways of God. "Then I will teach transgressors your ways, so that sinners will turn back to you." Verse 13. His hope for renewal isn't just personal. He wants to use his experience to help others turn to God as well.